I remember going for my first job on the Light programme, it was, because that was my tryout for opening up Radio 1. And I remember the producer there, a fellow called Dennis Jones, he said, we're going to rehearse the programme, and we're going to do Tops and Tails. And I said, what's that? And he said, well, you tell me what you're going to say into the record and what you say. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to say. He said, but you must know what you're going to say. And I said, no, I don't. I have certain jokes, very funny jokes that I'm going to tell. As has always been the case, they didn't turn out to be that hilarious, but I didn't know, and I still don't know. I've got the basic format to the show. And so he said, well, we'll scrap the idea of rehearsals, and then what we'll do, we'll just sit round and have a chat until 12 o'clock comes, or 12:15 as it was.
The Tony Blackburn Show! Let's go!
And I think the BBC were very good and very sensible to take on the pirate disc jockeys, and they allowed us to show them how to do it at the time. Kenny, Everett and I, we designed the studios for them, and we taught them really how to do it because they weren't aware.
Tony Blackburn Show.
Makes the week go fast, makes the weekend last and last.
It had to be a watered-down version of the pirate ships because, first of all, we couldn't play records one after another, as the pirate ships could do, because of these ridiculous restrictions that we still have here. Secondly, we had, intermingled with the disc jockeys, we had some of the older disc jockeys who'd been with the BBC for quite a long time, so they were still with us. I mean, they were very good. I mean, I've got great admiration for people like Pete Murray and dear old Alan Freeman and people like that, who's still the best at what they're doing. But they were with us as well, so it was a different type of station, and within the restrictions it had, I thought it did very well, you know, very, very well, considering that it had to link up with Radio 2, and so it was trying to be all things to all people.
Watching the flowers in the rain, feel the power of the rain, making the garden grow. I'm just sitting, watching flowers in the rain, feel the power of the rain, keeping me good.
I had my radios in a darkroom tuned to various frequencies which not many people knew about, and if I heard anything coded on these particular channels, I jumped in my car, went down to Whitstable, jumped on the tender and took photographs of whatever adventure happened to be going on. The DJ's main reason for being out there was to get a lot of airtime. They usually had at least 3 hours a day, if not an awful lot more. When I got stranded on Radio City, there were only one engineer and one disc jockey out there. So for a fortnight I became a disc jockey. They were only too grateful to have anybody take over because there just weren't enough people to do it. It was outside the rule of law at the time, or it seemed like it, and guns came into it, and people just dropping Molotov cocktails off the towers onto boats that might have taken them over. It was a question of territory outside the rule of law.
Screaming Lord Sutch started one of the first pirate stations here on Shivering Sands. He soon sold it to his manager, Reg Calvert, who established Radio City, the Tower of Power, on it. On June 20th, 1966, a gang boarded the fort and silenced the station. This was the first in a series of dramatic events, which eventually led to the shooting of Reg Calvert in a Suffolk farmhouse and the arrest of Major Oliver Smedley, backer of a rival station and a prominent member of the Liberal Party, on a charge of murder. These real acts of piracy turned the spotlight away from the DJs and the music and on to the men who were putting up the money. It was bad publicity for the pirates. The government's hostility to them didn't look so unreasonable after all.
I'm putting up all the finance for this.
How much?
Well, it exceeds 5,000 at the overhaul cost. We haven't actually spent this amount yet, but this will cost at least.
And how long do you think that sort of money will keep you going?
Well, until we get some more financial backing, but we don't intend taking on any cheap commercials, cigarettes or pop or anything like this.
Screaming Lord Sutch wasn't a typical pirate businessman.
Alan Crawford, 42-year-old Australian music publisher, is the boss behind this outfit. On his board of directors, you'll find such important citizens as Oliver Smedley, well-known liberal and businessman with interests in city press newspapers. Major G.C. Lomax, publisher and Lloyd's underwriter. And F.B. Broadrib, financial director to a well-known company.
It is not cheap to run a radio station at sea. It's a very expensive operation. Keeping a ship of this size at sea, manned all the time with a crew of 30, is an expensive way to run a radio station.
Latest in the field, Radio London. Potential radius 250 miles. Potential audience 37 million. Location 1 mile east of Caroline, backed by American and British money to the tune of $500,000. Advertising contracts for 200,000 in the bag after only 2 weeks.
Wonderful Radio London. Olé!
The pirates enjoyed a romantic image and promised hard profits. Attracted by this powerful combination, businessmen from the pop world to the city were drawn to pirate radio. Fishing fleet owner Roy Bates saw a lucrative future ahead for his Radio Essex.
Do you think there is a vast untapped advertisers' revenue waiting? I mean, is there...
Oh, yes.
I mean, have you got a license to print your own banknotes at a station like this?
No, it's not as easy as that. But every day, every week, every month, more and more business people and more businesses are becoming educated to use commercial radio. And this is as it should be.